Centralia, Pennsylvania, once a thriving American town full of families, schools, and bustling streets. Children played outside, neighbors laughed on porches, and life felt ordinary and safe. But beneath the ground, a silent danger was growing. An underground coal fire, sparked decades ago, spread unseen, poisoning the air and cracking the land itself. Smoke began rising from roads. Homes were abandoned, and streets slowly led to nowhere. What started as a small mistake became a disaster so powerful it erased a community from the map. Today, only a few residents remain, surrounded by ruins, warnings, and memories. Centralia didn't vanish overnight. It burned slowly, quietly, and relentlessly. Now, let's jump into the video to uncover the full story behind Centralia's disappearance.
Have you ever heard of a town that just disappeared? I'm not talking about a ghost town, slowly abandoned over decades. I am talking about a place that was thriving one day and literally wiped off the map the next. This isn't a plot from a horror movie. It's the very real story of a town in America that vanished, almost without a trace. The town was called Centralia, located in the heart of Pennsylvania's coal country. In the mid-20th century, it was a bustling community. It had homes, schools, churches, grocery stores, and over 1,000 residents. People lived their lives, raised their families, and worked in the local anthracite coal mines that fueled the town's economy. It was a classic American small town, full of life and promise. But deep beneath its streets, a hidden danger was smoldering, one that would eventually consume everything. So what happened? How does an entire town just cease to exist? The story begins in May of 1962. The exact cause is still debated, but the most widely accepted theory is surprisingly ordinary. The town council decided to clean up the local landfill by setting the trash on fire, a common practice at the time. They intended for it to be a controlled burn, but they made one catastrophic mistake. The landfill was located in an abandoned strip mine pit, and what nobody realized was that a vein of anthracite coal was exposed nearby. The fire wasn't fully extinguished. It crept underground into the labyrinth of abandoned mine tunnels that ran directly beneath Centralia. At first, nobody knew. Life went on as usual. But soon, strange things started to happen. Residents began complaining about a foul, sulfurous smell. Smoke and steam started venting from cracks in the ground, right in people's backyards. The fire was spreading, unseen, turning the very ground beneath their feet into a smoldering furnace. Can you imagine looking out your window and seeing steam rising from your lawn? It must have been terrifying. The town and government officials tried to fight it. They spent millions of dollars trying to extinguish the underground inferno. They drilled boreholes and flushed the mines with water and fly ash, a non-combustible material. But it was like trying to put out a forest fire with a garden hose. The network of mines was vast and complex, and the fire had too much fuel. Every attempt failed. The fire just kept burning, deeper and hotter. As the years went by, the situation grew more and more dangerous. The ground became unstable. Roads buckled and cracked. Carbon monoxide, a deadly, odorless gas, began seeping into basements, making homes unlivable. The temperature of the ground in some areas soared, making it hot to the touch. Trees and vegetation started to die off as the soil cooked from below. Centralia was literally being roasted from the inside out. The turning point, the moment the world truly took notice, came in 1981. A 12-year-old boy named Todd Dombowski was playing in his grandmother's backyard when the ground suddenly gave way beneath him. A sinkhole, 150 feet deep, opened up, releasing a plume of hot steam. He was clinging to a tree root for his life when his cousin managed to pull him out just in time. This terrifying incident made it clear Centralia was no longer safe for anyone. After that, the government finally took drastic action. In 1984, Congress allocated more than $42 million to relocate the residents of Centralia. It was a voluntary program, but most people knew they had no choice. They were offered fair market value for their homes, and one by one, families packed up their lives and left the only town they'd ever known. Houses were demolished, and the once vibrant community began to empty out. It was a slow, heartbreaking exodus. By the early 1990s, only a handful of residents remained, determined to stay in their homes despite the government's efforts to evict them. They fought legal battles for years, arguing for their right to stay. But the state eventually invoked eminent domain, condemning the remaining properties. In 2002, the U.S. Postal Service discontinued Centralia zip code. The town was officially erased. Today, if you visit the site of Centralia, you'll find an eerie, desolate landscape. The grid of streets is still visible, but they lead nowhere. Nature is slowly reclaiming the land. But the most famous feature is the Graffiti Highway, a stretch of the old Route 61 that was abandoned after it buckled and cracked from the underground heat. For years, it was covered in colorful, ever-changing graffiti, a strange monument to a lost town. Though the highway was recently covered with dirt to discourage visitors, the legacy remains, and the fire, it's still burning. Experts estimate there's enough coal underground to fuel the blaze for another 250 years. Steam and smoke still vent from fissures in the earth, a constant reminder of the unstoppable force that consumed Centralia. It's a ghost town of a different kind, not haunted by spirits, but by the relentless, slow-motion disaster still unfolding beneath the surface. The story of Centralia is a powerful and sobering tale. It's a story about community, loss, and the hidden dangers that can lie just beneath our feet. It shows how a seemingly small mistake can spiral into a catastrophe of epic proportions, one that can literally wipe a town off the face of the earth. It's a chilling piece of American history, a town that existed, and then, one day, was gone. What do you think is the most haunting part of Centralia's story? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most mysterious places. See you next time.